I had an uncle who was a veterinarian and a taxidermist. Worked out of the same office. He had a sign that said, "Don't worry, you'll get your dog back, one way or the other." Came in one day and there was a sign that said, "Dogs and cats neutered, Saturday only, $30. Senior citizens half price." I go to a lot of different churches. When I do, I pick up a bulletin to see what they're doing. And I still got the one at home that I read. It said, "Sermon next Sunday, what is hell? Come early and listen to our choir practice." At our church, St. Timothy, we've got a big sign out front, and somebody puts the message in for the people to see riding up and down Memorial Drive. A couple of weeks ago, it said, "If you're tired of sin, come on in." Right down below that, somebody had written, "If you aren't, call 404. I call that number. Bobby Jones answered. I said, "Bobby." He said, "I was taking messages for Charlie." You want one more?
Yeah, one more.
I go to Honduras every year on a mission trip. I have been going since 2001. And 3 or 4 years ago, I was getting ready to go. I went to a family reunion, and my cousin came up. And he said, "Where's that place you go?" I said, "Honduras." He said, "Do they have parrots there?" I said, "Yeah, parrots, they're flying around, you see them." He said, "Could you bring me one? I've always wanted a parrot." I said, "Well, it's just not that easy to bring a parrot back from Honduras. But I tell you what," that's a Southern expression. When you can say, "I tell you what," it's a complete thought. I said, "I tell you," or it might be you're just grasping for time. I said, "If I can find a parrot, I will get it back to you." Well, the last day, as you'll find out when I do my little presentation, we stay in the capital city, Tegucigalpa. And I was walking around, and there was a little pet shop there. And I walk in, and miraculously the guy spoke English. He was an expatriate, and he came down, and I said, "Look, I got a cousin Leroy, lives up in South Carolina in the mountains, and he asked me if I could bring him back a parrot." He said, "Well, that's not easy to do, but I've got one back there. It'll cost $1,000. It speaks 3 languages. It speaks English and Spanish and French, and it can translate from one language to the next." So I said, "Okay." I gave him my credit card. He said it'll take a couple of weeks for it to get there. So a couple of weeks went by. I called my cousin up in the mountains of South Carolina, and I said, "Leroy, did you get the parrot?" He said, "Yes, I did. Came last night." And I said, "Well, how was it?" He said, "It was delicious." I said, "It was delicious." I said, "Leroy, I paid $1,000 for that parrot. It could speak English, French, and Spanish and translate." He said, "It should have said something." I want to sing one more song.
Oh, me, oh, my.
You'll like this one. Dottie Rambo wrote it. Elvis Presley sang it. He left the splendor of heaven, knowing his destiny was a lonely hill of Golgotha, where he died for you and for me. And if that isn't love, then the ocean is dry. There's no stars in the sky, and the sparrow cannot fly. If that isn't love, heaven's just a myth. There's no feeling like this. If that isn't love, even in death he remembered the thief hanging by his side. He spoke with love and compassion and took him to paradise. And if that isn't love, whoa, if that isn't love, then the ocean is dry. There's no stars in the sky, and the sparrow cannot fly. If that isn't love, heaven's just a myth. There's no feeling like this. If that isn't love.